All right, today we are going to talk about classifying and being able to give examples of certain types of numbers. So it's important that you understand that all numbers can fit into different categories. Basically, they have different names, okay? You're used to, like yesterday, we were working with integers. Integers is a type of number, okay? So before we get started, let's get our notes dated. Today is 8/22/17. All right, we're going to start up here at the top in this first small box. All numbers, no matter what number it is, okay? All numbers fall under the category of real numbers. So all numbers can be given the name of real, okay? Then it breaks off into two sides. Notice the left side's a lot smaller than the right side. We're going to work with the right side today, okay? So we're going to go with this direction, okay? The next category after real numbers is rational numbers. And I have less space up here than you do, but feel free to move outside of that box. If you run out of room, that's fine. Just make sure you keep it within the same general area. So rational numbers are all fractions fall into here. Okay. And every category underneath rational numbers will fall back into here, but I'm going to wait to add that after we go through all of them, okay? So, for example, I'm going to put 1/3 or 5/6. Okay, so those are going to be considered rational numbers. The next category down is going to be integers. Hopefully we all know what falls into integers, okay? Integers are negative or positive whole numbers, okay? No decimals fall into here, and no fractions. So those examples that I gave you yesterday would fall into here. So for example, 5, -10, 16, -62. All of those are examples of integers. You've been working with integers a really long time, okay? Integers can also be rational, okay? So if it's an integer, it is also rational. So you'll have to include all those. So when I say the number 5, we can name, if I say the number -10, we can call that an integer, we can call that a rational number, and we can call that a real number. So the important thing to remember is that all of these have different names. All right, and then the next one is going to be whole numbers. Whole numbers include everything that integers does except for negative numbers. So down here, there are no negative numbers. Okay. There's still no decimals, and there's still no fractions, okay? The big thing to remember about whole numbers is it includes 0, okay? So 0 is an example of a whole number. So is 3, 17. So if I asked you what are the names that 0 falls under, you would have to say it's a whole number, it's an integer, it's rational, and it's real. Okay, so if it falls into this box of whole numbers, it also falls into the integer box, the rational numbers box, and the real numbers box. All right, we have one more box down there. Unfortunately, I have to erase all this, so if you didn't have it, pause it. Make sure you get it all down. Okay? So we can kind of see all of them. So this was rational. This was integers. This was whole. And this last one is going to be called natural. And then I'm going to put slash counting numbers. Okay. So the only difference between whole numbers and natural numbers is this does not include 0. So when you first learned to count, you always started with 1. So your counting numbers would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. We never started counting with 0. So counting numbers doesn't include 0, but it includes every other positive whole number within there. So if I said what names can you give the number 5? So the number 5, if that's a counting number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since it is a counting number, you also have to include all the other names on up. So that's why we kind of have it as a stair step, okay? That's the way once you find the lowest category it falls into, then you can list all the other ones for it. So we would write down that it's a natural number, it's a whole number, it's an integer, it's rational, and it's real. So notice some numbers can have up to 5 different names, okay? The lowest amount of names that an integer could have is 2, okay, is 2. All right, so let's look at another number. So what about the number, oops. What about the number 1/2? Okay, so 1/2, okay. 1/2 is a fraction. So looking back at your notes, because yours are more complete than mine, fractions fall into the rational category. They don't fall into any of these other categories. So if you don't have that written down, you can write that down. So no fractions. No fractions. Okay? So fractions, the lowest category that a fraction can go is rational. So 1/2 is rational, and then of course it's real because every number is real. Okay. So when you're given a number, what you want to do is find out what the lowest category is that it can go into. Let's try another example. This one's going to be a little tricky because this one's called a square root, okay? So if I have the square root of 36, okay, square root of 36, we have to figure out, well, what is the square root of 36? What's the answer to that? Because that's not simplified. So we're going to have to type that into our calculator, okay? So picking up your calculator, you're going to hit the second button. It's in the top left-hand corner of your calculator. You're going to hit that second button, and then if you go straight down that row, you're going to hit the x squared button, and above it you can see that square root sign. And then up on your calculator, this is what you should see. So then you're going to type in 36, and you're going to hit enter. So square root of 36 is the same thing as the number 6. So we're going to classify the number 6, okay? So which of these categories, what's the lowest that the number 6 can fall into, okay? I always start at the bottom. Can we count with number 6? Is that one of the numbers that we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yes, it is. So since it falls into that category, it's going to be every category on up. So it's natural, it's whole, it's an integer, it's rational, and it's real. So this would be your answer. Okay, and you have to write them all out. All right, not only are you going to be asked to classify them, but you're going to be asked to come up with an example, okay? You have lots of different examples of integers, whole numbers, natural numbers, and rational numbers, okay? You should be able to come up with your own example of each, and you're going to be asked to do that on your homework. All right, if you have any questions on any part of this, because this one's kind of a little complicated, you can always pause it, go back and rewind, okay? Or you can raise your hand and ask for help. I would love to help you if you're having a question.